This clip is from the Boundary Riders podcast, and if you do enjoy this, then make sure to check out the full episode out every single Wednesday morning on YouTube and Spotify.
But look, let's look at All-Australian talk. So, of course, with round 12 just completed, everyone's kind of releasing their mid-season All-Australian teams, and a lot of the time, the teams change quite drastically at this point of at the end of the season to now. You do kind of see it. AFL.com.au have actually released their mid-season All-Australian team. They went with the back line, Lockie Ash, Cal Wilkie, Tom McCartan, which I really like that addition, of course. Wayne Miller, Alia, and Nick Blakey. Through the centre, they've got Bailey Smith, Zach Butters, and Max Holmes. In the forward line, they've got Shea Bolton, Josh Tracy, Isaac Heaney, Nick Watson, Jack Gunston, and Murphy Reid. In the followers, he's got Luke Jackson, Marcus Bontempelli, Nick Dacos, and on the bench, they've got Justin McInerney, Keziah Pickett, Christian Petrarca, Max Gawn, and Jeremy Cameron. Now, I looked at this team originally, and I was like, honestly, I would be okay with the majority of them. Now, I think you have a few changes. So what would you be? You wrote down a few. I'll quickly go through mine, actually. So the only real change that I would be making, I'm not trying to make this a bias thing, but I'm surely that Brodie Grundy gets the nod over Max Gawn. I feel like Max Gawn's had a very good year, but I think Brodie Grundy and Luke Jackson have been the standout ruckman this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you think they have to go with two because most teams are using two ruckmen, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can be too disgruntled if they pick Grundy. If they pick two of those three, you can kind of see which either way they want to go with two, but you have to pick two of them. I think it's only fair that you pick two of them. But whichever two of the three you pick, I don't think you can really say, "Oh, that's a horrible decision" at this stage of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the AFL.com.au, whoever wrote this, whoever did this. I do like Tom McCartan's pick. I think he's been heavily underrated for years now as the Swans defender. That's why I was so shocked when Dean Cox in his first season was like, "Let's chuck him forward." I'm like, "Hey, why don't you not touch him? Just go with anyone else, please."
Why don't you just walk out the door right now with that decision?
Yeah, exactly. That was a stupid decision. They got him to change that real quick. We might as well chuck Bucket and Hayden McLean back there or something. Just do something other than that. Other than that, I'm personally pretty happy with this team. Like Murphy Reid, from the first half of the year, I think he deserves a spot in that team. Nick Watson's had a brilliant start to the campaign, so I would have him in there. Josh Tracy may be an interesting one over Ben King. I personally like the idea of that, though. Even though he hasn't got the most amount of goals, Josh Tracy, I think the modern centre-half forward playing between the arcs is that contested marking player.
Yeah.
So I do like the choice of him in the team.
Yeah, because they always want to put in the Coleman medalist in the forward line, but Gunston's actually leading that at the moment. But you just think that Tracy is that old-school forward that can take a contested mark, and he's been playing very well. And he might not be kicking up there in the top 5 of the Coleman, but he's doing everything that a forward needs to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But Jeremy Cameron,
I don't like it. I think that's the most. He came in with the first 6 weeks of the season playing, or 4 or 5 weeks playing like shit with a broken arm, and he hasn't. And his good game was against the Bulldogs with 10 goals.
So you wouldn't put him in?
No, I wouldn't put him in there. I think there's a few other. I know it's a midfielders thing, and you just put midfielders all on the bench. But did Zach Butters make that team?
Yeah, they put him in the centre.
Yeah.
I think Ollie Dempsey may be a bit lucky to not be around there. I know he hasn't had as good a year as he did last year, but I still think that wingman role that he plays, he's basically revolutionised the wing role.
Yeah.
Able to, drift forward and stuff. I've got some players here that could have made the team or could be, on the cusp. James Sicily in defence, I think he definitely could be in there. I think he's definitely done a lot better.
I think even I know Tom Barrass has been out for a couple of weeks, and same with, but I think I think Elias played it right. I think he's done very well. I think he's done very well. I think, I don't know. I think there's a few defenders that could have had that position.
Well, there's a name that's been spoken about the last few weeks. He's playing for a team that's in the bottom 4, but I could make a case for Ruben Jinby.
Yeah, I think he's playing very well. Like even with even the game in Gather Round when he played against Jezza Cameron, like he did pretty well to what he did. I think he kicked a few late, Cameron, but Jimby's playing a very underrated season, and because he plays for such a bad team and not on prime time, not in time slots that you need to get the Australian view media on it, he's playing very underrated and he's playing very well.
The unfortunate thing is when you're playing for a team that can get multiple goals kicked on you most weeks, or get a lot of goals kicked on you most weeks. It is kind of hard to stand out as a defender, and for the fact that he is standing out so quite a few people, I think that does show that if he can continue on his season, the Eagles, for the love of God, don't get smashed by 100 again. Just keep the season going, compete. I mean, they've got 3 or 4 wins now, and they're starting to build their season. Like, I think you can't give them a wild card spot. There's no way they make it that far, but because they're just too prone to losing by big margins. But some of their younger players are really improving, and if Harley Reid continues on this form, I don't think he makes an All-Australian, but if he can continue on this form and then build that into next year, we could be seeing the emergence of Harley Reid before our eyes.
Well, yeah, and you look at, there's always the 44-man squad that they come out every year with, 40-man squad, whatever it is. I think you'll be very surprised that people like Ruben Jimby and Harley Reid and some other young players coming through for West Coast that will be in the discussion of that team.
Yeah.
They may not be in the 22, 23 people, but they will be in the discussion of the 40.
Yeah.
And I think that's, showing that they are developing.
Yeah. I mean, a couple other names here are Clayton Oliver, who I think's had a pretty underrated season so far for the Giants. I think, considering all their injuries, I think he's got the highest amount of contested possessions out of anyone in the competition right now.
Yeah, I think with him moving out of the Melbourne bubble, getting away from it, I think he's got what he wanted. He didn't want to be in the spotlight, but it's also showing that not a lot of people are taking notice of how good his season actually is.
Yeah.
It actually has been a very good season.
Yeah, and they've got Finn Callahan, who I think he's just gone another level. He's probably, I think he's. I don't want to sound like a Kane Corn sort of type here, but I honestly think he could be in the top 10 best players in the game.
Right? He's getting there.
He's getting there.
Yeah, he's getting there.
I would be, if I had to go and list through, it's going to be a bit difficult, but he'd be up there right now. The way he moves and stuff, and Sydney Swan's version of Harry Kyle. I mean, one game, and I'm already in love with the guy. Even though his mate's getting kicked out of the ground. Did you see this shit?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Absolutely unbelievable. What the fuck? Who cares? Typical fucking Sydney little bloody wankers. I bet you there was someone in the crowd saying, "Oh, darling, what are those people without their shirts on? Darling, kick them out." There would have been some fucking absolute wank stain in the fucking crowd having a whinge about that, because I don't understand why anyone in the security team would even care. Like, how many people at the cricket would do that?
Yeah, they do it every year in the cricket.
It's ridiculous. But that's probably all the players that really I would say. The only change I would make to the AFL.com.au's team, honestly, would be having Brodie Grundy in for Max Gawn. Not that I'm saying that Max Gawn's had a bad year by any means. No way in hell. But I think that Brodie Grundy and Luke Jackson have been the best two ruckmen of the competition, and I believe that there should be 2, because I think a lot of the games move to that role. And it'd be tough to take out someone else. Like, maybe a Lockie Ash, move Max Holmes into defence because he's played halfback this year, and then put an Ollie Dempsey on the wing. I wouldn't take Max Holmes, but I mean, that's probably it. I mean, I understand that they're always going to Isaac Heaney hasn't played forward really much this season at all, but he's a half forward, of course.
Well, he did kick 5 on the weekend.
Yeah.
I think they can justify putting him forward in that All-Australian team, not like, chucking a Bontempelli on the wing, or a contested
they
midfielder.
Have improved that over the last
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, have you made any, what would have been your would you make any mass changes?
I think it's hard to say match changes. Like, you look at I think it like an Archie Roberts, maybe a bit unlucky, but there's probably about
Archie Roberts. I mean, yes, I understand he's had a couple of 40 disposal games.
Yeah, but I'm just more saying, but the role that he plays, you could count another 5 or 6 running defenders in those positions. I think Jezza Cameron's not even close to on the best in that best 22.
I do think that, like, when you look at the Coleman race, you see him up there and you're like, oh, Jeremy Cameron's having a really good
But he hasn't. He's
he's had a bad year.
He's had a good 6 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, really. Like, his injury, he didn't have a good game until he played an actual good game until he played the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
I think he's playing. He was holding that injury.
Yeah. I mean, he very well could build from here and be All Australian this year.
Oh, yeah, but
right now I kind of agree. Looking at it, yeah, I probably would take him out for a Ben King. I
Yeah.
think Ben King's still one of the best key forwards in the game. I will say though, I think that even though Hawthorn fans would say he's a great player, Jack Gunston, and I agree too. I do think he probably deserves a little bit more praise. I think that he's missed 2 games this year and he's still at the top of the Coleman. I think he does deserve a lot more praise than what he's getting. What I meant was I understand Hawthorn are giving him that, but I don't think enough people are. I think Jack Gunston does deserve a lot of credit, and Nick Watson as well. They've done a really good duo there. My question with Hawthorn in general has been their midfield for a lot of this year. And even Nick Watson's played through there as well, which is probably interesting to see what happens if they do play Blake Hardwick up forward for the rest of the season. I think they probably should look at that if they want to use some more. Because with Will Day coming back, that does, I think, will probably mean that they will have a little bit more rotation through the midfield. They won't have to, put some other players through there. But I think Nick Watson, they still should try to use that option.
Oh yeah, I think if you're maybe even if for like stopping momentum or trying to gain momentum for 5 minutes, you chuck him in there. Yeah. Just chuck him in for two or three CBAs or just around the ground and just fire him.
Yeah,
even if he's
using almost like remember when the Crows for I think 2017 or whatever, they made that role of running off that back of the square and just sprinting through the middle of the stoppage.
Yeah.
I don't mind that idea for Nick Watson or something like that. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. Overall, is there anyone you'd be mass changing now? Like one big change?
Nah. I think that's probably 90% right, 95% right.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair.